everyone. Welcome to episode number 3 of the Co-Founders podcast. Elvis, Larry's there, and today we're going to talk about what we think is one of the biggest phenomenons in health and activity and just overall health, and that's heart rate variability. So without further ado, just take it away, explain how you'd explain heart rate variability, HRV.
Yeah, I'll just maybe we'll start with a little bit story about this stuff.
Sure.
Discovered at the beginning of the last century, and since then lots of people was working on it. So I will say shortly, okay, just to everybody to understand this stuff. It's a check engine light for your body.
Yeah. It's kind of, like an overall health check engine light.
Yes, it's a check engine light. Now, what you do with that check engine, now, what you basically do with your vehicle check engine light, you run into the mechanic garage to check it out. What you do in our case, you just pay a little bit more attention.
Can you just go like a little bit in depth? What is it actually? What is heart rate variability? Aside from what, it's check engine light, but how does it work in your body?
Okay, check engine light, okay. The heart rate variability stands for difference in time, in milliseconds, between your successive heartbeats. Your heart shouldn't beat with the same time between the beats all the time. If you have it, you're in a bad shape.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a metronome, right?
No.
So that we know that HRV is measuring the peaks, right? If you see your cardiogram and it's measuring the peaks, it's measuring from beat A to B, what the time difference is, and then from B to C. And heart rate variability essentially tells you how your beat is changing beat to beat. Now, why is that? What's the significance?
Significant, yes. The more stress you have in your body, less the difference between heartbeats the less heart rate variability. So less time difference in milliseconds between your heartbeats.
Yeah.
If you don't have variability between your heartbeats, then you extremely stressed.
Yeah. So
or you have sickness, illness, or whatever it is. So for that reason, the brain gives your heart command to beat evenly because it cannot react on every single, so you have too many.
Right. So high HRV means that your heartbeat is changing very, very dramatically from beat to beat. So that's a high HRV, and that's generally a good thing. Low HRV is bad, and that is presented with a static heart rate that doesn't change from beat to beat. And I mean, the research and this has been researched for decades, like the different things that you can find from your HRV. The best way that I would think to explain it is it's a stress response, right? It's your brain sending a signal, and HRV is the only thing that can capture that signal. That's how I usually would explain it.
Let's start from the beginning. First, the part of your body that in stress, let's say muscle pain or whatever pain, just burn, whatever it is, that part sends the signal to brain saying, hey, I need recovery, I got injury here, I need oxygen, I need more oxygen, mineral, whatever.
Yeah.
Just now, how it gets the oxygen and with the bloodstream, what pumps the blood? Heart. Now, brain, what brain does? Brain sends the signal to the heart. Hey, pump couple pumps, like supply more to that place. Heart cannot differentiate the place. Sorry for that, but it sends two beats. Okay, now that's the time difference. Now after 2 beats, the organ says, yeah, okay, that's okay now. I will tell you when I need more. That's why it creates the variability. In milliseconds. So it's not, don't mix it up with atrial fibrillation, where where the heart beats, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not,
that's.
it's
I
not
mean,
that.
that's the thing. There could be false positives in the HRV if you have some type of AFib, but AFib is usually
It's
it comes in
possible.
intermittently.
It even gives you the false positives when you. I wouldn't call it false positives, but when you do a breath exercise, it's
we'll get to
yeah.
we'll get to all that. Yeah.
So it's a different approach there.
Yeah. So what ways do we have currently of measuring HRV? What do we have?
We have two. Scientifically saying, probably people who watches us knows that PPG. I can't even pronounce it.
I think it's photoplethysmography.
Correct. And ECG. That's the only two ways.
Yeah.
But the point is, I call that PPG method is optical because it's based on.
And this is so to be fair, this is the PPG sensor is just your standard heart rate sensor that you would find in a Fitbit, in an Apple Watch, Garmin, and everything else. So there's nothing special to a PPG sensor. Now, lots of companies, we go to a lot of these wearable trade shows and we meet with a lot of, founders and, and I'm not giving away trade secrets, but when I've spoken to some of the founders, they're saying that, we're using the same sensors. When I ask them, why do you guys say yours is more accurate? Well, they say, well, we have a higher sample rate. That's just a cheap way of saying PPG sensors have a standard sample rate amongst all devices. Whether some companies are saying ours is a bit higher, yeah, that might be possible, but you're still, it's like putting lipstick on a pig, right? It's still a pig. It's kind of the same.
Agree. They can make it higher, but not that much. It's like you can't run the like old vehicle 200 miles per hour. It's the same stuff. So it has a limitation.
Yeah.
So the PPG has a limitation. The limitation is I don't know. I've seen 60, maybe theoretically, maybe possible 80.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will correct me. Maybe more. Samples per second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what's the difference?
Now, in our
ECG.
case, the medical approach. First of all, let's start that HRV is FDA cleared biomarker.
That's very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. But there is some numbers comes with it. You can extract the correct HRV is in a range of from 250 samples and higher.
Yeah.
The 250 samples per second is a minimum
Yeah.
to detect the HRV, which means 4 milliseconds per sample. So we can, in our case, we have exactly the minimum. We could do 450, but taking in consideration our device, it's pretty small. We do to conserve the battery power. We do minimum, allowable minimum 250. Okay. Now the PPG is 80. Okay, even if you say 100.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
It's not. It's every 10 milliseconds. Now we capture 5-6 milliseconds difference. They can't. Their minimum is 10.
Yeah.
So they actually capture the fraction of what we can do. So in our case, it's a real, according to FDA, not to us.
And the problem
Again,
is
FDA.
The problem is theirs is a lot of time is an algorithm, right? Because they might miss a peak, right? When they're if you look at an actual EKG, they might miss a peak, and they have an algorithm that will just correct it, or it will discard.
Artificially.
Yeah, it'll artificially insert a number, or it'll discard a number, so it kind of weeds out what it doesn't capture. So that's why ECG is the best way. So not only, yes, heart rate variability is important, it's extremely important, but it's also important the way you're getting it, right? Because if you're getting fake data, that doesn't really help you. What you want is the most accurate data, and that's when we get to a small handful of wearables, including the IO sleeve, and among several others that do it, right? There is the little little band, you put 2 fingers on it, that works as well. They don't do HRV though, so there's not a whole lot of heart rate variability monitors at all that do it based on EKG.
Actually, the interesting part here is in our case, right? It's a firmware of our sensor responsible to extract that HRV data, which is very important. It's not done on iOS or Android system. It's done inside in the sensor, and it sends that information to the Android or iOS. And yes, you're right. In case of PPG, you can miss the peak. In case of electrocardiogram, you can't.
Yeah.
Because electrocardiogram reacts on electric signal. If it's there, it's there. Now, it's hard to explain, but 80 samples per second of PPG means how fast that LED blinks.
Yeah.
So of course you can miss. It blinks constantly, permanently with that particular ray. Now in our case, we just catch the electric signals. So it's like there's no way we can miss the peak. Yeah. And we just measure it.
Let's move to the different industries, or not so much industries, the different areas where HRV is used. So let's start with food and drugs and alcohol. I'll let you take care of that one. So with food, how does your body?
Hold on. The interesting part, you named some important, not industries, areas in a human being to know about himself issues, right? But you was wrong about where it's used. It's not used there yet.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
No. I'm saying, yeah, I know. It is, but I'm saying there's, it's been around prominently, I think, since probably, the 80s? Like, it's been around since the 80s, where they started doing heavy research, and now there's close to upwards of 20,000, more maybe 100,000 studies done just on HRV.
So lots of studies, yeah.
I picked out, they have HRV studies with cancer, diabetes, food and alcohol and drugs and fitness and asthma and everything, right? So it's huge, man. HRV is this thing that no one really knows about. They don't really know how to use it. There hasn't been a company to come out that says, hey, here's how to use it and here's how it's done easily. It's this enigma, but it's so important. There's hundreds of thousands of studies done just on this, and people aren't waking up to it, right? So for all of these categories, all people see is they go on Instagram or they go on YouTube or they go on Oprah and they're like, hey, this is the perfect diet, eat it now. And they listen and they don't care how their body reacts. Whether you say this is all healthy food, this is great, but you don't know the toll it's taking on your body, because inside there's people that just die for no reason, or they get sick and they go to the hospital for no reason. They don't even know how they got there, right? I'm not talking about the people that, eat crap food and McDonald's and Burger King every day, but the people that are listening to people on TV, or they're doing some type of workout, or they're doing a pill. That's the biggest one, right? Any kind of drugs, they're taking these pills. They have no idea how their how their internal body is operating, is how it's reacting to it, or how their autonomic nervous system. That's the big part. If it's struggling digesting all of this crap, or if it's, you want to make sure that your body is running smoothly. And HRV is the only thing that can tell you if you're on the right track and whether you've diverted off that track or if you're going forward.
Correct. The major part here. The HRV gives you alert when there is no feeling involved. You can't feel.
Exactly.
You can't feel a thing.
Yeah.
And you already know what's going on. It's not right, okay? You took a pill, you feel some improvements, but now, you have PTSD, for example, just example. You have anxiety or whatever symptoms there, okay? You anxious and all that stuff, you take a pill to calm down that particular feeling
But you don't know what that pill is doing.
physically
Right.
to your organs.
Exactly. So now you're dealing with the balance of
it.
your emotional and then your physical, right? Because we didn't. I don't know if we mentioned that at the beginning, right? There's two different types of stress that can be captured with HRV, right? There's the emotional stress and then there's physical stress.
yeah.
So physical, that's anything from working out to eating. That's a physical.
It's a physical.
Anything that has to do with ingesting. Injury, right? If you're injured, that's another thing. Injury.
PTSD,
HRV.
mental,
That's on the mental
taking
side.
pills, physical.
Right. So now there's this interesting like dichotomy between, hey, I have a sickness on the mental side and I'm going to cure it with the physical side, but the physical side brings me down more. So maybe there's other ways, but nobody's doing this. Like if more people had heart rate variability analysis, I think there would be a lot less casualties and a lot less injuries and hospital, because you would know these early warning signs.
Okay, first of all, absolutely. Let me make it to the example, okay, life example. Again, PTSD, whatever, mental stress, depression, basically close to. So, the doctor prescribes you like 2, 3, 4 pills, okay? Now, how do you know which one is better for you?
Right.
That's HRV. So you take one, it reduces your depression level. So you feel more happy or whatever, less depressed, let's say. And you see the HRV is, so your mental stress goes down,
Yeah.
but from that medicine, chemical stuff,
Yeah. I mean,
physical stress goes up. Now, you have to balance it. You have to be here, okay? Not here, not here, here.
yeah.
By taking pills, one today, another one you try tomorrow, another one you try another day, and you finding that mental, physical balance. That's your pill. So it reduces your stress, depression, and it's not raising your physical stress to harming your internal organs like liver, which is a filter of all toxins and all that stuff. So that's what it gives you, the balance. The HRV can balance your intake.
Well, like you said before, it's crazy. Why? It makes it seem like people care more about their cars, because a car has a check engine light, right? People say they don't care, like, hey, I see Oprah do it. She got skinny. I'm gonna go on this diet. I don't care, right? Whatever. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get skinny. But you don't know how you're feeling inside, and people don't care. But they care more about their cars, right? They see the check engine light, boom, they take it into the mechanic, okay? And it's very sad. It's very sad. This is your body's check engine light. If something's wrong, why? If there's a way that you can analyze that, why are you ignoring it? Now, this is the difference between having your body operate like a Ferrari versus like a piece of crap, some Ford, right? Sorry, Ford, no offense. Put any car in there. Ford, Toyota.
Yeah, Kirkstroke named it the gum disease. So
Ford, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He
You told me that at the Oscars.
He said the
Yeah,
Ferrari is a Halle Berry and Ford is a gum disease. So it's not us.
So, in the words of Chris Rock, it was his comments. Okay, that's a Ford. So HRV is really the difference between your body running like a well-oiled machine versus just not being optimal, right?
Yeah, check engine. It's a simplified version of HRV. Engine has whatever 20, 30, 40 sensors.
Yeah.
Our body has millions. Millions of sensors. So in that case, you have to help HRV. You have to. If you see the HRV is low, you have to know what's the problem. Yeah. What you did to lower your HRV. You drink some green tea or whiskey, or whatever you did, or you had a stress at work, or you had a stress with your girlfriend, boyfriend, you had too much workout, you know, and you have to make a conclusion to fix it, to make it better. You know your life, nobody else, no doctor. You cannot even explain to doctor every second of your life you remember only. Now you remember things that you will never tell to your doctor.
Yeah.
But when you see the lower HRV, you know, whoa, hold on. And you can take HRV any second, any time. Just like right after that event happened.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, right? It's interesting how HRV works. Like you can't trick it, right? You can't fake it.
No.
So alcohol is a great example. So theory has it that alcohol is supposed to reduce your HRV, right? It's attacking your system from the inside. Your heart,
It's attacking your liver, heart.
Exactly. Thanks for leading me that way. So because HRV, like you were saying before, each part of your body, if there's some kind of injury or there's some kind of issue, it's going to send a signal to your brain like, hey man, I'm struggling. So the liver sends those signals.
Liver sends, yes.
And it's going to lower your heart rate variability, and that's bad. However, it's also known to some people as a stress reducer. Okay? Let me finish. You can after. So there's a graph when you're drinking alcohol. If you have 1 or 2, your HRV might actually go up or stay the same because for that moment, you reduced the stress part, right? You reduced the stress, and before the liver, right, before the physical side catches up with it, you do have that stress reduction from the alcohol.
You're close to being simplified HRV. But I will get it even closer.
And this is I did this strictly for scientific purposes. Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So simplification, again, we come to, remember that old market scale. Market. You're going to the market to buy meat.
Gotcha.
So there's two plates, right?
Yeah.
On one plate you put the weight, on another plate you put the meat, and you buy. That's it. So what we do? Before you start drinking alcohol, you have like that. Now this one,
right,
your mental stress. Okay? Now you start drinking alcohol. 1 shot or whatever dose, 2 doses. That's the 3 doses.
Yeah.
It's over. Now, what's your balance? You have to keep the balance.
Yeah.
You have to make it right here. Maybe you need 15 doses to get it here if you have a high stress or whatever high level of stress, and you just by drinking 10 alcohols, you just falling asleep and it balances itself. Okay, I don't know. So, but that's what it is. Yeah. Now, hey, let's simplify the HRV. HRV is an indicator to keep your balanced. How about that?
Well, we always, if you go to our website, we always talk about finding your baseline, right? A big part of finding your baseline and improving that's kind of like your homeostasis. That's like your everyday, this is your peak, maybe not your peak, this is the average of where you want to be. So before measuring HRV, I know for myself, I had crazy imbalance throughout the day. It was starting off good in the morning, stress during the day, during work, and gym, I was doing it improperly. And you don't want to go through these waves because you're putting your body under unnecessary attack during those low moments. So you want to capture those low moments and bring that average up. Those peaks, you don't want it to be a graph like this. You want to bring that down and you want it to be controlled. So you're in control of your life the same way you're in control, everything has signals. Alarms on your phone, and your camera tells you when the battery's dying and all these things. You want to make sure to keep it at that level. right, without going too far, and accurately monitoring your HRV every day and figuring out what your baseline is, that's a way to get there.
What can give you that? That's our device.
Yeah.
It's numerizes, it's numerical value of what's going on.
Yeah.
So only by seeing the human being is very primitive actually. If you see the number,
Yeah.
simpler the number,
Yeah.
better chances
Yeah.
you improve that number.
Yeah. I think the thing is,
If we place you, let's say, 75.6 numbers
Right,
after the point,
it's
you're not gonna remember that stuff. And what we do, we simplify that way. The health score. It's from 0 to 10. Super healthy guys, like bicyclists, professional bicyclists, they don't even have a heartbeat. So
it's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
They actually, I was talking to some guys and they saying, we actually keep our heart beating because so trained, so the heart just can't stop.
Yeah.
Because there's no signals requiring any oxygen and stuff.
Yeah.
So we give you the number, and our number is 1 and 2 numbers after the dot.
That's it. I mean, the point is, I don't
Very
think
easy to
you said
remember.
humans are primitive. I think they like simplicity. Humans are complex, but love visual simplicity, right? And that's what you get with our product. And I don't really, I would rather people buy HRV product, even if they're not ours. If you're gonna get into that space, I encourage it, even if it's not us that's getting into that space. Because I think more people really should use stuff like this. And this is gonna be a topic for another podcast, then it could go on for 3 hours, is how important this could be as a a precursor or what do you call it?
Hold on. What we do right now is just an introduction into a huge world of HRV.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you guys like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe, or you can head to komodotech.com. We'll see you next time.